Hello and welcome to the Print on Demand Playbook Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Von Arx, here with the solo episode to discuss what I truly believe is the best marketing platform in 2024, and that is Instagram. This is one of my absolute favorite topics to teach on because Instagram alone has transformed my life and the lives of countless other print on demand and apparel brand owners. So in this episode, I'm going to be sharing proven strategies that you can implement right away to attract your ideal customer, to build a following of raving fans, and convert those followers into customers. But just before we begin, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast on whichever platform you are listening from or watching from to ensure that you never miss an episode. And as an added benefit, you help us out by reaching more new listeners. So thank you in advance. We appreciate you. Let's jump in. What's up, guys? I am super excited for this episode because I get to discuss Instagram marketing. Anyone who knows me knows that this is a topic I am very passionate about, and I actually feel quite challenged to keep this episode somewhat short since I have hours of Instagram sales and marketing and growth strategies in my beginner coaching program, T-Shirt Legends Academy. And this is something that I feel like I could create an entire dedicated program around. The reason I love Instagram so much is really because it has allowed me to make multiple seven figures online, and it's transformed the lives of so many other print on demand and apparel brands. That I want for you. So I truly believe it is the best social media platform in 2024 for print on demand apparel brands. And we're going to talk about this. So really, I want to break this episode up into three parts. First, I'm going to debunk one of the most common Instagram myths. Secondly, I want to talk about the three stages of Instagram growth. And then third, I'm going to introduce you to my ABC framework for attracting your target audience, building a following of raving fans, and converting those followers into paying customers. However, before I jumped into that, we got to do something that we always do, and that is shout out one of our amazing listeners. So I want to share, this is actually a DM I got in Instagram from one of our podcast listeners. And to be honest, this actually made me pretty emotional. The reason being is because she makes reference to her family, and anyone who knows me knows I'm a family first guy. Everything I do for my family. I don't want wealth for the sake of wealth. I don't want fancy cars and I don't want fancy houses. I want to be a provider for my family, and I want to unlock more freedom and security in my life so that I can spend more time with them. I'm sure that resonates with a lot of you, but just reading this review, I really felt what Sarah was saying, and I'm really, really proud to share this. So this is what she said in the Instagram DM. She messaged me and said, "Hey, Adrian, just wanted to drop you a quick note about how your podcast changed my life. After binge listening for a week, I took the plunge and launched my POD business on April 1st. And guess what? I made over $1,200 in sales in the first week, lots of which was profit. Before I stumbled upon your podcast, I was stuck in a mess because I had naively started out by ordering way too much stuff from a factory, only to end up with piles of unsold stock and paying for storage. It was such a downer, I was about to quit. I feel like I had let down my family and just run up debt. But thanks to your awesome advice, for the first time, I feel like I'm actually getting somewhere, and there's a future for me supporting my family while doing what I love. Seriously, I can't thank you enough for your guidance and support." That's what it's all about. I mean, everyone has their own reasons, but this is my reason. Like, Sarah, I completely relate with you. This is exactly how I feel. Like, I want to create a bright, sustainable future for my family. And I can tell that that's what you want too. And I have a really good feeling about you and your success if you stick with this, because you have a very strong why. What I realize is that those with the strongest whys are generally the ones who succeed, because they're not going to give up at the first struggle, at the first sign of potential defeat. Nothing is defeatable. You know what I mean? Like, this is something you're going to have highs and lows in any business. However, if you fall back on your why, if you remember why you're doing this and you tie serious emotion to it, you're going to be unstoppable, because you're not going to quit. You're going to keep going through all the valleys of despair, and you're going to be just continuing forward, whether it's a peak or valley. So, Sarah, thank you for your message. That really touched me, and I'm so happy that you bet on yourself and you took the action, and you've seen some quick results. So congratulations. That was all you. I'm happy that we could be the guide in your journey, but really you're the hero here. You really are. And I hope that you stick with this for the long run. I checked out your brand on Instagram. Man, I see a very bright future for that brand. So keep up the great work. We appreciate you. And anyone else, if you have a story like this, we love these kind of stories. We love sharing them. We love shouting you out. So feel free to DM us on Instagram, me at Ecom Legends Academy, Kerry at Kerry Egler, or send us a message, whatever platform you're listening from. Or if you would be kind enough to leave us a review on a platform like Apple Podcasts, we would appreciate that too. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into the main event here. So I mentioned that I was going to talk about really 3 things in this episode. First, I want to debunk a very common Instagram myth. Secondly, I want to talk about the 3 common stages of Instagram growth that I see. And then third, I'm going to be sharing my ABC framework for attracting your target audience, building a following of raving fans, and actually converting those followers into customers. So let's just jump right in, starting with this myth. Man, I am so happy that I get to debunk this myth on this episode. And I just feel like it would be a pretty long video if I did it on a short form platform like Instagram. But I just want to share the myth, and then I want to just debunk it so that you can just let this go and not let this hold you back from taking action and from growth and to remaining consistent. That myth is that you need a large audience to make a lot of sales. This is just not true. I'm going to say something that might surprise some people, but follower count is a vanity metric. It means nothing if your goal is to convert followers into customers and you're unable to do that. So what I want you to do is I want you to focus on quality of followers over quantity. Now, there are accounts out there that are making 4, 5, 6 figures in sales with less than 10,000 Instagram followers. And then there are accounts with over 100,000 followers that aren't making any sales at all from their audience. Which would you want? Which would you want? Would you want the small, quality, raving fan audience, or that you could actually monetize because they know, like, and trust you, and they love your brand, they love why you exist, they love supporting you? Or would you want 100,000 random followers who don't actually care that much about your brand or why you exist, and they have no interest in ever being a customer? I want to share this 1,000 true fans principle. And it's really simple. All you need is 1,000 people to spend $100 a year on your shop, and you have a six-figure brand. You have made six figures in sales. That's it. And this is the power of focusing on quality over quantity. Remember, too, that if you have a winning product that people actually want to buy, you should be running ads to that product to amplify your reach. And what's nice about this is that you can get to six figures in sales even if you have a very small following. I was able to make $277,000 in 60 days with only a few thousand followers. And really, that's because one, I had a winning product that people actually wanted to buy. That is a requirement. And then two, I was able to profitably scale my ads up and reach hundreds of thousands of people, even though I had a very small following. You can do this too. And this is a proven, tried and tested strategy. This is what a lot of people do. And by the way, just as a byproduct of doing this, what you're going to realize is that when you do run ads to winning products, you are actually going to grow your audience because you are amplifying your reach. And a lot of those people, they're going to be drawn in by your ad. They're going to check out your account and they're going to make a decision to follow you. And if you actually have an account worth following, if you're entertaining, engaging, and inspiring your ideal target audience, guess what? A lot of them are going to follow you. Not only that, you're also going to collect a lot of email addresses as a byproduct because a lot of people might actually really like your brand and they're either A, just not ready to buy right now, B, maybe they just don't have time. They want to come back and complete a purchase. Or C, they just really love your brand and what it represents. And they will buy from you when you have something that they want to buy. And I know that this might sound kind of strange to people. However, this is very normal. What you're going to find is that a lot of people are going to subscribe to your email list without making a purchase. And this is an incredible thing because it's very hard to capture attention on social media. People are always scrolling through their feed. They're following a lot of accounts. They're being advertised. And you can definitely do it. And I encourage you to do it. However, if you can get their email address and you can market through them through email, now you've got two lines of communication. You've got social media, post valuable content that entertains, educates, or inspires them. And then you've got email marketing where you can offer value, you can advertise new arrivals, you can advertise promotions. And what you're going to notice is that so many of your sales, they're going to come from email marketing. The fortune is in the follow-up. What a lot of people don't realize is that most people don't buy the first time they visit a website. And that is why it is our job as marketers to try to obtain their email addresses so that we can market to them through email. And over time, many of those individuals, many of those subscribers who raised their hand and said, yes, I want to hear from this brand, many of them are going to convert into customers, even if they're not customers right now. And even better, if you can build a large, valuable email list, you can get so many repeat sales. And this is one of the foundational strategies to building a sustainable and profitable brand. It really is. So this is why it's so important that you focus on quality of followers over quantity of followers and trying to leverage social media as an acquisition channel to introduce people to your brand, to attract your target audience, and to try to get their email so that you can convert them into customers. Now, it might be very weird to some people that anyone would subscribe to an email list and not purchase. But I can tell you from experience, in the experience of a lot of my students, this is very common. And there's nothing wrong with this because the goal should be to convert them into a paying customer at some point. I actually have a student who sent out a survey to their email subscribers. They sent out a survey to their email subscribers who had not purchased. And they just explicitly asked them why they had not completed a purchase. And you might be surprised by this answer, but I was not, because I've also surveyed my email subscribers. And I'll get to that in a sec. But essentially, one of the biggest responses, I think this might have actually been the number one response why people had not purchased from them, although they were an email subscriber, is because they just didn't have anything that they wanted to buy at that time. But I mean, think about that for a sec. If you loved a brand and you loved why they existed and you felt like that brand was made for you, then there's a good chance that you're going to subscribe to their email, even if you're not ready to buy from them. Maybe they need more nurturing. Maybe they need to build up that know, like, and trust factor. But in a lot of cases, what you're going to realize is that your email list is going to build over time, even if it's not resulting in immediate sales. And guess what? When you do release a winning product that really strikes a chord, it is going to be like printing money when you send that out to your email list, assuming that it is a quality email list. Because these people, remember, they're most likely following you on social media. They've chosen to subscribe to your email. And if you are creating products that evoke emotion and relatability that really resonate with them, there's a very good likelihood that they're going to purchase that either for themselves or someone else in the same niche, because we know that a lot of people tend to hang out in circles with similar interests. So if I'm a passionate pit bull lover, I'm probably going to be friends with a lot of other passionate pit bull lovers. Or if I'm a CrossFit enthusiast, I'm probably going to be doing CrossFit every week with other CrossFit enthusiasts. So not only are you potentially going to be reaching them and converting them into a customer with something that they're going to buy for themselves, but there's also a high likelihood that when someone's birthday comes up, or when some special occasion, or when the holidays come up, they're going to go to your website and they're going to be shopping for gifts for other people within that niche. Now, one other thing I want to mention before I move on to the next point is that also remember that when people are wearing your products, they are essentially a walking billboard for your design. Like, they're going around wearing what you created. And what do you think that's going to do? Especially when they're hanging around with other people in that same passionate niche. If I bought a CrossFit shirt or a fitness-inspired shirt for CrossFit and I wore it to CrossFit, I'm probably going to get a lot of compliments on it. And a lot of people are probably going to ask where I got it. And what that does is that allows you another opportunity to get even more customers, right? This is just logic. If someone's going out there and wearing your design, and it's a winning design that evokes emotion and relatability on a mass scale with your ideal customer, guess what? When they get that product, your product in front of more of your ideal customers, there's a very high likelihood that they're going to convert and you're going to get more sales from this. There's actually a term called the halo effect. This is called the halo effect. And this is something that I heard about through meta marketing, Facebook, Instagram ads. And the halo effect, essentially, it states that when you run ads, you're going to get a number of sales that aren't attributable in Ads Manager. So when you go look at the data, when you look at your Ads Manager, it might say that you made 0 sales, but when you go to Shopify, you see that you made 2 or 3 sales. This happens all the time to me, to my students, and it always puzzles people. They're always left scratching their head like, where did these sales come from? And the truth is, a lot of times those sales actually came from your ads. And they came from your ads in a number of ways. One, you may have converted a customer who then wore this product and then more people bought it because they really love that product as well. Or two, those people who you targeted, they may have shared that ad with other people who are passionate about that same niche, and they may have ended up converting into a customer. And those are not attributable sales. Those are not going to show up in Ads Manager. So if this is something that you've experienced where you ran ads and you noticed that you were making sales, but when you went into Ads Manager, it said you weren't making any, more likely than not, the sales actually came from an ad. So I just want you to know that because you're probably going to experience this at some time. And just by knowing this, you can kind of put the 2 and 2 together and say, okay, I need to know that this is probably coming from my ad and this is not organic traffic. Because some people, what they'll do is they'll just turn off their ads. They'll see that they made sales, but Ads Manager tells them they made 0 sales. So they turn off their ads and then they just stop making sales. It's just crickets. That's because those sales most likely actually came from your ad. And this is one big reason why I tell people when you are running ads, don't just rely on Ads Manager. Look at your Shopify sales. Look at your ads in Shopify and compare it to your ad spend, how much you're spending a day on ads. And if you're profitable after your cost of advertising and your cost of goods, then you should absolutely keep that running, even if Ads Manager says you haven't made any sales. If you see in Shopify you did make sales, I would attribute that to the ads. All right, so we talked about this myth, I need a large audience to make a lot of sales. I'm here to tell you that's just not true. I told you that myself, I was able to make over $277,000 in 60 days with only a few followers because you have other tools at your disposal. Like, yes, if you create a winning design and if you have a following of raving fans and you get that winning design in front of them, you're very likely going to make a number of organic sales. However, if you get that validation, if you know now, okay, I'm onto something here, there's some magic here, this design is far outperforming other designs that I've posted on social media, the next step is to amplify your reach and get that in front of more of your ideal customer. And one of the absolute quickest ways to do that is to put ads behind it. Put ads behind it. You're going to be able to get your ad in front of thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of people in a very short amount of time. And that's going to be the validation, whether it's good or bad. If your ad if the ad flops and it's not profitable, then you probably don't have a winning design that you can scale profitably with ads. If your ad is profitable, fantastic. You've got validation that you're onto something here and you should continue scaling that up. So I'm going to try not to go too deep into the weeds because I feel like I've already kind of gone down a rabbit hole. And this is what I mean about Instagram marketing. It's just something that I truly believe in because it's completely transformed my life. It's transformed the lives of a number of my students, and I know it can transform your life as well. So that's all I'm going to say about that myth. I hope that's enough to have debunked that myth. And I hope you stop worrying about your followers. If all you cared about was a large following, you could just go out and you could buy 100,000 followers today. Now, I would absolutely advise against this for so many reasons. One, it's just purely unethical. Two, there's no benefit from a sales perspective. Those fake followers, they will not convert. And three, it's going to work against you because it's going to mess with the algorithm, and the algorithm is not going to be able to determine who they should actually be feeding your content or recommending your content to, because you've got this scattered mess of 100,000 random fake followers, and it's actually going to work against you. So this is something that I've always been passionately against. I've never bought followers in my life. I never would buy followers in my life. The best way is to grow organically, entertain, educate, inspire, release designs that evoke emotion, relatability for your ideal customer, serve them, make your entire brand around your niche, and eventually you're going to start getting momentum. And that leads me perfectly into the second point that I wanted to make in this episode. And I wanted to talk about the 3 stages of Instagram growth. Now, I was inspired to talk about this because one thing I notice very, very commonly with people when they are trying to grow their Instagram, and to be honest, I think this is kind of an unrealistic expectation. However, there might be some gurus out there that tell you that this is really easy and that you can get 100,000 followers in 30 days. And I just want to kind of shut that down. And I'm definitely not trying to demotivate anyone. In fact, quite the opposite, because I believe that by setting realistic expectations, you're going to stick with this for longer. If I promised you that you were going to get 100,000 followers, 100,000 legit, passionate followers in 30 days, and you didn't, then you're going to be demotivated by that. That's actually going to kind of deflate your momentum. And so I want to talk about the very 3 common stages I see in Instagram growth so that you can kind of take inventory of where you are right now. And you can also take some comfort knowing that where you are is very normal in most cases, and probably where a lot of other people are as well. So these are the 3 stages of Instagram growth that I see most commonly. First is the experimentation phase. So this is going to be when you're testing out a bunch of different content, a bunch of different content types to see what attracts your target audience and grows your following. And what I've realized over the years is that this is where most people get stuck. So what a lot of people do is they'll post, 30 times in 30 days, and that's fantastic. That's a great start. However, it's very rare that 30 posts in 30 days is going to absolutely blow up your account and totally transform it. Like, you have to keep the consistency going. And I'm not saying that you have to post every single day. In fact, I would rather you focus on posting higher quality, well-researched and validated content and do it a little less frequently than just focus on posting every day, regardless of the quality of the content. The other thing I will say is one of the absolute worst ways to grow your Instagram following is to only post your products. This is something that I see all the freaking time. I always have people come to me and they say, oh, hey, I've been posting on Instagram for 30 days, 60 days, and I'm not seeing any growth. Well, here's the thing. Growth takes strategy. It's not a result of luck. If you want to grow on Instagram, follow a proven strategy because it's really strategy over luck. So if you are one of those people that all you do is post your products, I want to really encourage you to stop today, because I kind of compare this to the pushy salesperson. You know, when you go into a store at the mall and right away someone jumps on you and says, hey, do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy this? What can I help you find? We have all these sales today. It's like, just like, warm me up, butter me up a little bit with value before you just go in for the sale. All right. And this is somewhere where I feel like a lot of brands fall short. And I don't actually blame them for this, because it's not their intention. It's the strategy that they've either been taught, or just the strategy that they think works. They think, oh, my Instagram page is made for me to post my products. And it absolutely is. You should be posting your products to your Instagram feed and in your stories. However, just posting your products is one of the absolute slowest ways to grow an account, and it's going to work against you in terms of growth. So what you want is you want a blended strategy. And with this blended strategy, what you're going to want is you're going to want to offer value in some way. Like I said earlier, create content that entertains, educates, or inspires, that gives people a reason to follow you, that could potentially make you go viral in your niche and have Instagram recommend your account to your ideal target audience. By just posting your products, you're highly unlikely to have your content recommended. And what that means, if you're not reaching new non-followers, then your posts are only going to be getting in front of your followers at best. It probably won't even get in front of the majority of your followers. It's probably going to get buried by other higher quality content. So this is something that I just really advise against. I encourage you, kind of the solution to this is to have a blended strategy, offer value, and then, yes, sprinkle in some products to monetize your following. However, based on where your goals are, the ratio of value posts to product posts is going to vary. For example, let's say that you just started a new brand and you want to build up your following organically. I love that. That is my preferred method, is to build up organically and then to put ads behind validated products. And as a byproduct, you're going to grow more that way. But if your goal is to build, what I recommend is that you focus the first 30, 60, 90, 120 days to growing your account and attracting your ideal customer. That means that you're going to weigh much more heavily on value posts and much less on product posts. Now, if your goal, let's say that you did grow your account in 6 months, or let's say 6 months, you grew to a size that you're really happy with. You've got this raving, highly engaged audience who engages with a lot of your content. They like a lot of your posts. Then this is the time that you can start switching the ratio up a little and start posting some more products. And you don't have to post them to just your feed. In fact, you might not post them as much to your feed, but you can post them somewhere like to your stories, where you can have clickable links and you can direct people to your website. When you do this, you're going to be essentially shifting the ratio a little bit away from growth and a little bit more into monetization. So I hope that all makes sense. This is a topic that I could really go into the weeds with, but I'm trying very hard to hold myself back, because I'm talking about the 3 stages of Instagram growth, and I have already gone too far down the weeds. So let's reel this back. All right. The 3 stages of Instagram growth are experimentation, optimization, and momentum. I just talked about experimentation. This is where most people are. This is when you are creating a variety of content, trying to find what content really resonates with your audience. All right. And this can take some time. Like, if you're not growing in 30, 60, or 90 days from the day you start, that's actually quite normal. And you can grow a lot faster if you follow proven, tried, and tested strategies. However, during the experimentation phase, it depends on a lot of factors. One, is your content really dialed in for your niche? Two, how frequent are you posting? Three, did you conduct content research to find validated content that you can repurpose, reshare, or reimagine, and then post that to your account? Because that type of content is significantly more likely than just finding random content that has no validation online and then sharing that to your account, or creating original content, which one, takes a lot longer, and two, has a much lower chance of going viral and reaching non-followers. And when growth is your goal, which I recommend it be the goal for especially out of the gate. It should always be the goal, but especially out of the gate, I recommend leaning more heavily into growth. And if that's your goal, then you want to take the time to do content research and find content that resonates with your ideal customer, and then find ways that you can repurpose that content for your account. All right. So that's the experimentation phase. The second phase is optimization. So what you want to do is you want to review your Instagram analytics. These are totally free. You have a professional dashboard. If you have an Instagram account, you have a professional dashboard that you can look at any time. And what you want to do is you want to look at that, I would say every 30 days at a minimum, to find out which content is working so you can create more of what's working and less of what's not. Crazy concept, right? But really, that's what it is. Remember, success leaves clues. So what you can do is you can audit your most successful content. You can reverse engineer that content, and then you can find ways to create more content like that. And if there's a certain content type that you've been posting very regularly and you notice that it consistently underperforms, then I would probably just scrap that type of content. It's just not the best use of your time. Imagine if you allocated all that time for creating that low performing content and leaned in, doubled down on your best performing content and created more of that. That's a strategy for growth. And over time, that's going to accelerate your growth. So what you want to do is essentially diagnose and improve. You want to look at the data. Remember, intuition is great, but data always wins. You want to look at the data, find your best performing content, and then you want to find ways to create more content like that, and then to start axing the types of content that just aren't working, because that's not the best use of your time, right? And so the optimization phase is very important. First, you're going to experiment. You're going to post a whole bunch of different types of content. Try a lot of things. Try reels, try carousels, try still image posts. What I will say that right now in 2024, reels are definitely the best content type to grow. I'm not necessarily saying to monetize, but to grow your account, reels are still king. So most likely your reels are going to be your best performers. However, you want to go deeper than that, because you're going to have some reels that might go viral and you're going to have reels that are going to get crickets. And so just because it's a reel is not any kind of guarantee that it's going to go viral and it's going to grow your account. So what you want to do is you want to look at the reels or the content that's performing the best and create more like that. All right. So just to summarize that point, you want to look at the data. You want to look at your professional dashboard minimum once a month. audit all of your content, find out what's performing the best, create more like that for the next 30 days and less of what's not working. Diagnose and improve. So this is the optimization phase. And what's great about this is when you do start going viral, if you're following a solid proven strategy, you're going to go viral. You're going to go viral. And what you're going to notice is that a lot of times there's a viral formula, there's a viral strategy, and it almost becomes predictable in some cases where you know that if you post a certain type of post that has these specific factors, that it's going to go viral for you. So what you can do when you do go viral, this is when you hit the optimization phase and you're going to create more of that viral style content because at the beginning, I believe that the goal should be to grow. You want to grow, you want to build that audience, and then you want to monetize the audience. You don't want to just go right for the sale because it can come across as aggressive for some people, or they just see your account and they see that all you ever do is post your products, and that's not very interesting to them, even if they are in your niche. Lead with value. All right. Now, the third step in this kind of 3 stages of Instagram growth, that's the momentum step. This is where it gets really fun, really, really fun. So what's going to happen here is you're going to start getting repeat virality, and this is going to accelerate your follower growth very, very quickly. So what you're going to notice in sort of the optimize phase, in the experiment phase, you're going to try a lot of things. You're going to find some things that work. You're going to do more of what's working. And then you're going to kind of find your rhythm. You're going to find your viral style strategy to grow. And what you're going to notice is many times the first time you go viral, you might not get many followers at all. You'll probably get some new followers, but you might not get many followers at all. However, if you keep going viral over and over and over again, you're going to continue getting recommended by the algorithm to people in your target audience. And a lot of those people that saw one of your posts and interacted in some way, maybe they just liked it or commented but didn't follow you, they're going to start seeing you over and over again. And if you do get in front of them multiple times, they're significantly more likely to actually turn into a follower. So this is why I'm really big on starting with building and growth and then monetizing. Remember, when you first start out, you probably won't have a winning design or product. It's just not common because it takes time to truly understand what your ideal customer wants. Even if you're in the niche, even if you're super passionate about the niche, and even if you think you know what they want, you let your customers vote with their dollars. And when they vote with their dollars, you're going to get very quick validation on if this is something that they actually want or not. So what I like to do is focus on building and growth at the beginning when I likely don't have a winning design, and then sprinkle in my designs and look for validation. Look for one product post significantly outperforming my other product posts. That's a good positive sign of validation. And if I do notice that it's significantly more, let's say you average 10 likes on a product post and then you post one product and you get 100 likes, I would take that as enough validation personally to put paid ads at a small budget behind that product and see if I can scale it profitably. So as you build up this quality audience of passionate raving fans, they're going to start interacting with your posts more, including your product posts. But one thing I do want to mention, be really clear about, is product posts very, very rarely ever perform as good as value posts. And that's okay because the goal of value posts is generally to grow, but the goal of product posts is generally to monetize. The goals are different. The goal is to convert your followers into customers, and you don't need it to go viral to get your followers to purchase that product, right? So it really depends on what your goals are. What I recommend is at the beginning, start on building a passionate audience of raving fans. and then sprinkle in product posts to try to monetize your followers. But it might take time because a lot of the times when we first start our brand, we don't actually have something that a lot of people want to buy. As good as we think it is and as emotional as we get, we let our customers vote with their dollars. They're the validation. All right. So going back to the third phase, the momentum phase, this is when the algorithm really starts to figure out who really resonates with your content, and it gets really good at showing and recommending your content to more of those people, more people like those who interact with your brand, with your account, and follow your account. And this is really exciting because this is where you kind of start to see the hockey stick growth. So you start with experimentation where you're trying a bunch of different things. Next, you go to optimization where you're creating more of what's working and less of what's not by analyzing the data. And then third, you start getting momentum on your side. And this is when you start going viral over and over and over because you've kind of figured out your viral style strategy and you notice your account really start to accelerate. Now, that can take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12 months to get to that momentum stage. But remember too that building an audience of raving fans of quality followers is much more important than the size of your audience. So kind of going back to what I said before, your follower count is a vanity metric. What's most important is that they actually love why your brand exists. They are passionate about your niche. And these are people that want to support your brand. And a lot of times they're going to become repeat customers for the long term, loyal, repeat brand advocates and cheerleaders. And really that's what you want. Like I mentioned earlier with the 1,000 true fans method, you only need 1,000 people to spend $100 a year and you've made 6 figures in sales, 6 figures in revenue. All right. Okay. We've already gone 46 minutes. I thought this episode was going to be way shorter. However, I also had a feeling that I was going to go way down into the weeds with some things. So hopefully you're still with me. Hopefully I have not lost you. I want to end off by sharing a proprietary framework that I created called the ABC framework. So I created this for T-Shirt Legends Academy, my beginner coaching and training program. And this is something we teach in our Instagram training. We have hours of training in there on Instagram because I believe it's the number one sales channel, the absolute best platform in 2024. I think it's been the best platform for many years. And I think it's going to be the best platform for many years to come. And that is why I am hitching my cart on this wagon, because it has bred so many successful brands, including my own. And I want that for everyone here. So I really lean heavily into Instagram marketing. All right. So I want to talk about the ABC method. So this is my 3-step framework for attracting your target audience, building a following of raving fans, and converting those raving fans into paying customers. And the A, B, and C, they stand for A, attract, B, build, and C, convert. So let me briefly break this down and explain the framework in a little bit more detail, starting with A, attract. So in the attract phase, your goal is really to attract your target audience on Instagram through primarily effective content marketing. Like I said earlier, just posting your products is very rarely going to grow your account and it's going to really stunt your growth. So I do not recommend doing that, especially at the beginning, unless you have a massive loyal following or you're a very established brand in which you've probably been on Instagram for years. So you want to use this. The step A, you want to attract your target audience on Instagram through effective content marketing. The goal in the attract phase should be to go viral. However, to go viral specifically amongst your niche. I would way rather that you go viral to 1,000 people that are actually your target audience than go viral to 100,000 totally random people. And this is a common mistake I see when people are trying to grow their Instagram accounts is they see viral style content about something completely separate from their niche and they post that and maybe it does good, maybe it doesn't. If it does good, that's actually, I would argue, worse, because what's going to happen is you're going to train the algorithm is going to look at that and be like, okay, all these people interacting with this content, what do they have in common? What are their similarities? And then it's going to recommend your content to more people like that. And if this isn't about your niche, if it has nothing to do with your niche, then it's going to recommend it to a bunch of people that don't care about your brand, why it exists, and they're not passionate about your niche. And guess what? Then, because they're not interacting with your content, Instagram is going to think your content is low quality and it's not going to get pushed out to more people. So it can actually backfire and be harder. You almost have to dig yourself out. And this is something that I strongly recommend avoiding. So there are a number of ways to grow on Instagram in the attract phase, but really the best content type, like I mentioned earlier, for growth right now, if growth is your goal, is reels. You don't need to just post reels. And I actually encourage you not to just post reels. I think you should test out all content types. Post reels, post still image posts, post carousels, see what does well for you. Now, like I said, yes, reels are what we're seeing growing accounts the fastest. However, you can absolutely still go viral with still image posts and with carousel posts. So I recommend that you test them out for yourself. Now, when it comes to creating reels or short form content, let's just call it, really, I kind of mentioned this earlier. You want to entertain, educate, or inspire people. Those are generally what really strike a chord with people and get them to consume your content. And that's important. You want them to consume your content. And the more of your content that they consume, the more you're going to get the algorithmic favor, because Instagram's number one goal is to keep people on the platform for as long as possible. And when they are looking at content that's being put on the platform, they are favoring the content that has the higher consumption time. So if someone watches your video 100% through, then you're going to get more algorithmic favor versus if someone watches the first 3 seconds and it's a minute video. This is why you see this strategy where a lot of content creators, they'll post really short videos. They might be 5 to 7 seconds. And a lot of times they'll have looping audio, or they'll save something until the very end, or they'll say, read the caption, because they want to get that 100% consumption so that they get rewarded by the Instagram algorithm. Again, I'm going off on a tangent here, so I'm just going to stop myself. But going back to the ABC framework, number one is attract. A is attract, B is build. So what you want to do is you want to build a following of raving fans in your niche. This is so, so important. And you want to get them to know, like, and trust you. And what that's going to do is that's going to make them more comfortable eventually becoming a customer. That's going to make them more likely to go to your website and shop around and complete a purchase. So what you want to do in the build phase is you not only want to create content to grow your account, but you also want to create content that retains your existing followers. And this is very important, because if you are not retaining your existing followers and all you ever post is content to attract new non-followers, what's going to happen is you're going to start ignoring your existing following and just always focusing on non-followers. And then what you're going to find is that you're on this hamster wheel where you always have people following you, but then you always have people unfollowing you. So an example of this, if you just keep posting the same type of content over and over again with the intention of going viral and reaching new non-followers, but then your existing followers, they keep seeing that same type of content, and let's say it's not as valuable to them when they see it over and over again, then they're going to get kind of uninterested in the brand. And if it doesn't feel spammy, or if it does feel spammy, or if it's just clearly content created to reach non-followers, then they're going to start unfollowing you. And you don't want that. So it's very important that you not only post content to grow your audience and reach non-followers, but you also want to post content to retain your existing followers and to build up brand loyalty. So what I find, this type of content, it's not necessarily intended for growth. It's intended for retention. So what you might realize is that this might not go viral as much. However, what you'll find is that your actual followers love to interact with this type of content. So maybe it's educational content on your niche. Maybe it's tips on your niche. Maybe you're in the fitness industry and you're posting tips like dietary tips or workout tips, something that adds value to your existing followers that might not usually go viral, but it's gonna offer value to your existing followers and they're gonna love seeing that. And that's gonna give them a reason to stick around and continue following them. All right. So that's the B for build. And the C is for convert. So what you want to do, really, you want to convert your followers into paying customers using two things. You want to use a primary channel to acquire them. So that would be a social media platform like Instagram. And then you want to use a primary retention platform or channel to retain those individuals and to get them either to make their first purchase or to repeat purchase again and again. And my favorite platform for that is email marketing. Really, my main focus is growth on Instagram and retention on email marketing. Keep it simple. Keep it very, very simple. And I'm going to talk about this in a bit. I've got a pro tip I'm going to share with you at the end, all around simplicity. But let me finish my point about the convert kind of phase here. So you can make a lot of free organic sales just through Instagram by having a passionate following of raving fans. But in most cases, the majority of repeat sales, and many times even your first sale, they're actually going to come through a retention channel like email marketing. This is why anytime that you are driving traffic to your website from Instagram, your goal should be to collect their email address so that you can remarket to those individuals and can eventually convert them into paying customers through email marketing. Like I mentioned earlier, the fortune is in the follow-up, and the profit, a lot of the profit is in the repeat sales. So if you can just master this strategy of attracting your ideal target audience through social media like Instagram, and then find some way to get their email address. There's so many strategies to get their email address, but get their email address so that you can remarket to them and either turn them into a first-time buyer or into a repeat purchaser. Now, I know that was a lot, so let me kind of summarize the ABC framework, the strategy, because that was a lot of information. And I would understand if you were like, wow, that was a lot, that was slightly overwhelming. And I don't want what I teach ever to be overwhelming. I pride myself on simple, proven, effective strategies, on teaching simple, proven, effective strategies. So let me just kind of summarize the ABC framework. So first, you want to use Instagram as your acquisition channel to attract your ideal customers. Second, you want to build a following of raving fans in your niche who know, like, and trust you by offering value and creating a community that they feel like was made for them and their passions, whatever your niche is. And then third, C, convert. You want to convert followers into paying customers. So you want to do this by creating emotion evoking and relatable designs and products for them. You want to collect their emails so that you can market to them regularly. And what you want to do is you want to drive traffic to your website. You can do this in a number of ways. You can do this from your bio. You can do this in your stories, especially with clickable links, or you can collect their emails even through Instagram Shop now. So this is a huge opportunity that has only become available in the last couple of years and still something that I feel like is very underutilized And as someone who's benefited so much from Instagram shops and made so many sales from Instagram shops, but also had a lot of other students making a lot of sales from Instagram shops, this is something that is absolutely worth the time to set up properly and to utilize. And finally, in that C, convert stage, you want to nurture once you collect the email addresses of your ideal customer, you want a quality email list. Is you want to nurture them regularly through email marketing. You want to convert them into a customer, and then you want to continue marketing to them for repeat sales. And what you're going to do by doing this, by following this strategy, is you're going to create these brand loyalists. They're going to find you on Instagram. They're going to subscribe to your email newsletter. They're going to buy from you once, and then they're going to buy again, and then they're going to buy again. And every time you release the right products, winning products, which over time you're going to get better at this once you really kind of figure out that what really resonates with your ideal customer, is these people are going to be buying from you again and again and again, and you're paying next to nothing to market to them. Not only this is great, is email marketing great for validation. If you have a valuable list, it doesn't have to be big, but it has to be a list of your ideal customer. If you have that list and you send an email every time you have new arrivals, and you notice that your 10th email made a whole bunch of sales, your 10th new arrival email made a whole bunch of sales, well, that product is that's great validation that you can get very quick, and then you can put paid ads to scale up and amplify your reach, right? What you'll usually find is that when you post a winning designer product to email, it converts into sales. And when you post it to social media, it's going to have disproportionately higher engagement and interaction than your other product posts. Those are very good signs, and that is very good validation. And that is a time at which I would put paid advertising behind a product. All right, that was a lot. I hope you're still with me. We've been going for an hour here, and I just want to end off with a bonus tip. This is something that I truly believe is very important and almost mandatory for success. Because here's the thing. I know that most of you listening, you wear all the hats in your business. You are the creator of your products. You're the social media marketer. You are the email marketer. You are the customer support team. And that's totally normal. That's how most people start out. That's how I always started out. And only when I got to a certain level would I start outsourcing things, right? But I want to give you this tip that I wish someone gave me when I first started. And that is to commit to mastering just one social media platform, one acquisition channel. I think Instagram is the best personally, but maybe that's not where your ideal customer congregates. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's somewhere else. But just commit to one. Commit to mastering just one social media platform for acquisition, and commit to focusing just one platform for retention. So the strategy that I teach and what I've had the most success with, and I believe is the future too, it's the past, present, and future right now, is Instagram for acquisition and email marketing for retention. All you need to do is master those two things. You do not need to be on every single platform. I don't know about you, but it's hard enough to master one platform, let alone 3 or 4 or 5 platforms, right? And it's much more powerful, I've realized over time, through a lot of trial and error and a lot of failure over time, is that it's much more powerful to master one platform where your target audience is congregating than to have a small, insignificant presence on a bunch of different platforms. You don't need to be on Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat and Pinterest. Choose one. Choose one that you see a lot of brands succeeding on, and one that your ideal customer is congregating on, and then commit to mastering just that one platform. There is so much evidence to support this kind of one platform strategy. Just on Instagram alone, you have so many 6, 7, and 8-figure brands that were built off the back of Instagram. So this is why I am so bullish about just choosing one and just mastering one channel to acquire customers, one channel to acquire and attract your ideal customer, and then one to retain and convert them into paying customers or repeat customers. Remember this quote: simplify to amplify. You can scale out to those other platforms in the future as your team grows. However, at the beginning, for the first 4, 5, 6, 7 plus figures in sales that you make, you can absolutely have a ton of success with just having and mastering one platform, one social media platform, and then one retention channel, which I recommend: email marketing. I think that's the best. I believe Instagram is the best social media platform for print on demand and apparel brands specifically in 2024. And I just don't see that changing anytime soon. So I recommend that you commit to learning and mastering this platform. Learn and follow proven, tried and tested strategies, because this platform can absolutely transform your brand and your life like it has for me and so many other people. So that is it for this episode. That was a lot. I can't believe we went over an hour. I was actually trying to keep this into like 30 minutes, but you know me, I don't gatekeep, and I can just talk about subjects like this that I'm so passionate about for hours and hours and hours. So if you did enjoy this episode and you found it valuable, let me know by DMing me on Instagram over at Ecom Legends Academy. And I can definitely create more Instagram growth content for future episodes. This was really just the tip of the iceberg. And there's so much more that I could share with you. So I love hearing from you guys, and I can definitely keep these coming in the future if you're enjoying them. So hit me up in the DMs on Instagram at Ecom Legends Academy. Let me know if you enjoyed this, and let me know if you want me to create more, and I can definitely do that. So with that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you really enjoyed this episode. Remember to stay awesome, and remember that you're always just one design away. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Print on Demand Playbook podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us an honest review on whichever platform you are listening from. Thank you so much again, and we'll talk to you very soon.